Now we're going to talk a little bit about the types and the history of geometry. So first of all, to start with the most basic things about geometry. It was first used in construction and surveying, and you can see that by its name. Geo comes from earth, and metria means measure. So they were measuring the earth, and this actually goes back to the times of the pyramids. Now, an important thing to know about geometry is that the first real geometric system was developed by Euclid. He developed an axiomatic system. So that's like this word here, axiom, axiomatic. Now, what is an axiom? An axiom is the same thing as a postulate, but what is that? Well, an axiom or a postulate is accepted as true, and I don't need to prove that it's true to you. For example, if I told you that 2 apples plus 3 apples is 5 apples, I don't need to do a lot of work to show that that's true. You accept it as true. Now, Euclidean geometry started with 5 postulates. The first postulate, and we've already explored this one, is that a line can be drawn through any 2 points. So I can imagine a string connecting the 2 points. If I move the point, I can still connect it with a string. Maybe the length of the string will get longer, but they can always, any 2 points can be connected with a string, which would represent the line. His second postulate was that a segment of any length may be constructed in any line. As we discussed, lines go on forever. So that means if I want to create a segment on that line that's, say, just a centimeter, I can do it. Or an inch, or more like a foot, or even the length of a football field. Because the line goes on forever, I can use any line to make a segment on that line of the desired length. He also said a circle with any radius and center may be drawn. And so that means I can have the center of the circle here, and I can have a smaller radius, or I can have a giant radius. Anywhere I can have a circle with a center where I want it, and a radius as big as I want it. He also said all right angles are congruent. So right angles, you remember you learned angles in 5th grade. A right angle is a 90-degree angle. Then finally, his 5th postulate says that through a point not on a given line, so pretend that's a line, and here's a point, exactly one line may be drawn parallel to this, parallel to the given line. That should not be point. That should be line. So let me just fix that. That should not be point. That should be line. But you don't have to fill it in, so it's right in your notes. So I want it parallel to this line, and I want it going through this point. So if I do a line like this, that works. But if I tilt it just a little bit, then it's not parallel anymore. It'll intersect. So that is the 5th postulate. Now, this did bring some controversy because some people said that's not a postulate, that's a theorem. I bet you I can prove that that is not true. And that is what leads us to the other types of geometries.